This video is to talk to you about the final task that you need to do, task 14, which is a summative evaluation. Here's typically what you're going to be asked to do. You've got 7 marks available to you, and it's listed here that you need to analyse the information you've used in your modelling, analyse the information you've used in your data handling, that's a database project, evaluate your final documents, suggest ways in which you could improve your work, evaluate what you did in this controlled assessment, analyse the way in which you did your research, evaluate the way in which you worked through the whole of the project. To help you think about how you want to approach this task, I put here a printout of page 34 of the revision guide, page 34 of the Unit 2 revision guide. If I zoom in here, hopefully you'll be able to see a bit more. At the end of the entire controlled assessment, you will need to complete an evaluation document for all of the tasks you've completed. You will need to think about how well your documents met the requirements of each task. It would be good to scribble some comments out on paper before you type all this out on the computer. It's good to write a few sentence starters under each heading, which will help you think about how to write the final evaluation. I'm good at this. I needed more help with that. I could have improved this part of the project by that. This worked well. This didn't work well. I'm glad I did this. These are the kind of things you need to think about. Now, you're going to gain marks if you evaluate your spreadsheet, your data handling, that's the database solution, your desktop published final documents, whether that's a brochure or a catalogue, or it could be a newsletter, a standalone presentation or web page, whatever you were asked to do in the controlled assessment, you're going to have to evaluate those documents. You're going to have to perhaps have some evaluation on the feedback you've had from other people, the techniques and tools that you did in this controlled assessment, a section on areas of improvement, an evaluation of the research task that you did, evaluation of the way in which you structured your files and folders. Now what you want to do here is include comments on which are positive, what worked well, and negative, things that perhaps on hindsight didn't work so well in these different tasks. It would be good to be thinking back about the comments you had from your friends and talk about the changes that you made. Now don't just repeat what you said earlier in your annotation. I changed the font size. But you could say, I found the comments from my friends very helpful, enabling me to think of things that I hadn't seen myself. Comments, for example, on how effectively you used the basic tools in your packages in your documents. So, for example, I found page numbering a very useful way to produce final documents, making it easy for people to find the appropriate sections. Make suggestions on how you could improve if you had more time. Maybe you'd want to put some advanced macros into a spreadsheet, or put some reports into a database package. And then think about the whole of the project and some of the things you've done that worked well. Organising your folders, your task folders in the way you did probably saved you time. It allowed you to find files more easily. Now, to help you have a go at this, I've actually got a sample summative evaluation that I tried to do, and I've introduced it here by saying I'm going to review some of the tasks that I have completed in this controlled assessment. I will comment on what worked well and also the difficulties I met. I will try to make some suggestions of improvements that I would make if I had more time. And here I've listed the tasks that I'm going to review: the file organization task, the research task, the data handling task, the communications information task, I should say task there, maybe a presentation task, and the task I've listed out there, of course, is the financial modeling task. So, what have I done? Well, I could type up something that looked a bit like this. Evaluation of the file organization task. I tried to organize my work carefully in task folders. This made it much easier to store and find my files. I think it helped me work through the whole project in an organized way. Sometimes I wasn't sure what were the best file names to use. I think I could have improved it by using a standard way of naming my files. and perhaps I could have added version 1, version 2 to some of my key files. I found it very easy to back up each task folder to my memory stick, which meant that I could find any old files if I needed them. And then I tried to evaluate, for example, the research. And you can see I've just written a paragraph on each one here, but you need to be making 3 or 4 bullet point comments in each paragraph. I found that there was a lot of relevant information available online. The Google search engine is very easy to use, and I was able to locate pictures, descriptions, historical and information. I liked being able to find professional graphics and logos to include in my DTP documents. You could say that gave it a very professional final look. I think if I had more time, I could have visited a DVD store and prepared a simple questionnaire to find out more relevant information to help my research. And then I've tried to review the next task, the data handling task. The software allowed me to design the tables and complete the queries. I found the software difficult to use, as you have to be very accurate to set up the right queries. I think that I could have added extra queries and reports which would be useful to the DVD rental business. Now, if you can think of an example to pop in here, that'd be really good. If you're ever saying, I think I could have done something, try and be very precise and think of a concrete example of something that you could have done if you had more time. I think I could have included an end-of-month standard report which would be helpful for understanding their sales information. Let's highlight the next two. You'll see I've done evaluating of the communication information task. It might be a newsletter. In your case it might have been something different this year, but here's one that I did. I used a word processing package to prepare my DVD store newsletter. This will be very good for advertising for the shop. It has many features needed for a professional looking desktop document. It was not difficult to insert images and change the appearance of text with graphs and tables. Evaluation of the communication information task, the presentation. I used a presentation package to design slides for a slideshow in the DVD store. It was easy to use. I liked using the custom animation features to make my slides more interesting. I liked the way that I could use links that made the presentation look like a website. I probably should put in here. I liked the way in which the presentation could be used in a standalone mode. I don't know if yours could. I think visitors to the store would find it easy to use and prefer it to asking lots of questions at the staff desk. I think I could improve it with some video clips showing people how to search through our DVD library. So I'm thinking here of changes that we could have put in there which would improve the project, which perhaps go beyond what I've been asked to do. But it's showing that you're thinking about what could have been done. Now this is important. Collecting information from other people. I sent some emails to my friends and asked them to tell me what was good and what could be improved in my documents and presentation. I found that my friends noticed lots of things that I didn't think of. For example, there were spelling errors that I'd missed. I used too many different fonts and styles that they found confusing. Not all of their suggestions were useful, but I think it's important to ask other people to check over your documents to get a wider view. I could have improved the feedback by giving them very clear questions to help their review. You might want to comment here that using an emailing your peers was a very efficient way to get lots of questions out to lots of people and getting their response back quickly. Perhaps you could have improved your review by asking please respond by a certain date so that I can move on to the next section of my work. And now the final one I've got here is the financial modelling task. And I put some comments here. I found it easy to enter the basic data and design the DVD billing sheets. I used simple formulae and I was pleased it looked very professional and did all the calculations very quickly. I'm sure it would be helpful to the store. I found it very difficult to get the if functions working. I would have liked to have used a macro button to automatically give me a preview of the printed receipt. Sometimes my formulae were not right and I found it difficult to track the mistake. I used the formula view to check out some of the formulas and I found this helpful. I found it good to check my formula by putting in very simple costs or numbers. I should put numbers here. E.g. one DVD at £2 for 2 nights. It was easy to check that this gave £4. Now you can do a lot of the thinking for this summative process outside the controlled assessment time. If you look at page 34 on your revision guide, there's clear boxes here describing all the sections that need to be in your summative evaluation. Why don't you get a piece of paper and write down 1 to 9 and write down 3 or 4 bullet points that should go under each one of those numbers. It will help you review and think in your head some of the things that need to be included in your summative process. When you've done this, then might be a good idea to go check into your controlled assessment and start typing out and writing out the actual summative process review. I hope this video has been helpful to you.